Today, we're going to chat quickly about me, something I think that's pretty important, which is religion in relationship and why it's so. It's interesting because I say this, but I didn't start like my relationship didn't start with my beautiful wife is Hindu, well, was Hindu and first started dating a Christian, and I was very serious about Lisa. Over the time passed, and as things went on, and years went by. Eventually, she had converted and built on a relationship with God, and through that, it then started to change our relationship. And then we started to pursue a relationship that was Christian, a relationship that was all centered on God. And that was really what our focus was. And what's really interesting, I guess, is this. I mean, first, let's talk about religion in general, right? So when you're looking at two people in a relationship, and let's say one is following a certain religion and one is pursuing God in a certain manner, and the other is not. And let's say the other one is doing fervently. Well, you have a bit of a disconnect because sometimes it starts to mean that the way you view the world is very, very different. Because if one person believes that God does exist, and one believes God doesn't exist on a fundamental level, we got some problems. Because basically, the core belief of how we were created and what exists is a clashing, and that is there a higher force. And I mean, I personally argue that everybody should follow a religion of some sort. Whether it's Christianity or not is a different conversation. But I think that generally speaking, that the path of atheism, personally for me, doesn't lead to a stronger society, a stronger world, right? I mean, every society we know was built in the back of a religion, right? Like America is built on Judeo-Christian values and so on and so forth. You know where you go. If you go to India, you're looking at a culture that's deeply steeped in Hinduism and different sects, different kinds all over the show. And if you go to the East, you look at Buddhism. So there's almost no, if you look at Eastern Europe, in Catholicism. So there's almost no society that has been built on the back of atheism. It's kind of a new thing that's come up. Consider how societies were built. So yeah, that's generally speaking, I personally have always thought should run. But that being said, if we're in a relationship and you're saying, okay, cool, it's probably, in my opinion, better that we're both atheists if I'm in a relationship, because then we don't have a fundamental clash and then we don't have to fight a battle. But if one of us believes that there are reasons beyond us why things happen and the other one doesn't, you have a fundamental problem. Now, why is it important that ideally you guys would probably be in the same religion? Well, in general, when you're facing this difficulty, what you have is, let's say me and you are arguing. We're in a relationship and have a fight. Right? Why I've, over the years and now that I've been married, my young couple months of marriage, have started to understand is that having a single source of truth for morality and how you guys do things is really important. And that single source of truth does not just necessarily come from one or the other person. It comes from something above you guys. Because let's say we have an argument, right? Like, take that argument to the Bible. And then that argument can be settled within the Bible if we're talking about a fundamental disagreement on how things should be done. Yes, your wife should respect you and say, hey, I trust you, my husband. But like, if she says, look, I think this is a red flag and we shouldn't go down that road. And you're like, hey, why? And she says, hey, the Bible says X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, and X, Y, Z about it. And then I'm like, interesting. I should probably consider maybe I'm going down the wrong path. Or I should consider, do I really think? Maybe I'll take a look at the Bible. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's flesh it out. Because we're not fleshing out whether I'm right or you're wrong. We're fleshing out whether I'm right or wrong under the premise of what the Bible says or how God wants us to do. And under that premise, I'm right or wrong. So she's not calling me right or wrong, but she's saying, hey, I think from what I've seen, the path we're going down is wrong. We should readjust. We should reassess. We should change course. And vice versa. Then you guys have a discussion. It's not like, hey, you are calling me out about something. It's like, hey, listen, I love you. I actually think from this point of view, we should be acting this way because of what the Bible says. And that's in general, when you guys share the same religion and are following that, allows for that single source of truth to exist from an ethical standpoint and from a standpoint of the directions of your lives. When you're looking at how do we handle the nature of bigger disagreements or clashes around the fundamental directions of our lives and those decisions. And how do we make those choices? Because it becomes really hard to navigate right and wrong if you guys agree to do the same thing and you can agree to go down the wrong path of your life. So having a single source of truth allows your marriage and relationship to then function from the single source of truth, whatever that is for you. Whatever that is for you. Right? Like if you guys set up, and some people set up certain rules in their marriage and they put out these principles, and those principles are going to allow them to make their decision. That's great. I mean, you're human, you're flawed, and you're only going to do so well. So when you're looking at a bigger picture, okay, well, we don't necessarily agree on how to do this particular thing, but we know that if we really can't reach consensus on it, let's take it to the Lord, let's take it to the Bible, we're having a very different discussion now. Because it's not about you being right or me being right. It's more about what is right. Because a single source of right exists. A single source of what is true and right and correct exists in your relationship. So therefore, it's not about you versus me. It's about trying to find what is right among both of us being confused people who don't always know the right thing to do. And that's why it really helps when you're communicating to have a single source of moral truth, whatever that is for you in your relationship. It assists you. And if we have somebody who says, well, why would I do that? I don't believe in it anyway, so why would I want to, I don't believe in this written word or the Quran, or these are not the rules I live by. You got a problem. You have a kid, to me does something, to me lies. Okay. One parent says, well, to me, lying is okay in that context. And you say, lying is not right in any context. And then now you have a clash, because on a fundamental level, you got a problem. You believe lying is right in certain contexts, and I believe in general, because of certain words, that lying is right in no context. So, what do? We've got a kid now. And now we're clashing on an ethical, moral issue with our kid. And how are we going to teach that kid what's right if we don't even agree on what's right and wrong? That's a big problem. So I hope you guys take this. I hope it helps you guys in as you build up your relationship, as your relationships improve, if you're in a relationship, as you guys do this and continue to be in a relationship, hopefully you find a way to agree on a single source of truth. And if you guys not in a relationship, you find somebody who agrees with the single source of truth that you have, and that you guys are all of the same religion, ideally, if not, that you both believe in God, and that there's some crossover in those beliefs together. Good job. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.